It's the middle of July, so you know what that means. Woo woo! What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Beer Business Bureau. It is the middle of July, and that means one thing and one thing only. Stout! And we are in the 2017 version of the wØØtstout. It is their latest released. I want to call it wØØtstout 5.0. You can call it wØØtstout 2017 release, whatever it is you want to deem it. But as you can see, I've got my 2013 version, got my 2014 version, my 2015 version, and my imaginary 2016 version. Don't ask me what happened to it. It must have disappeared. Someone might have stolen it, or I might have just drank all the ones I had at the time and forgot to save one for a special occasion like this. Whatever. Let's do this. The wØØtstout 2017 release is the 13% ABV bourbon barrel aged Icker of all that is geek. And only those who religiously watch TableTop and The Big Bang Theory are truly worthy to drink it. Just kidding. Open this beautifully complex, super chocolatey, super boozy Imperial Stout, load up that snifter glass, and set your face to buzz, because inebriation is in your immediate future with this one. Alright, now before I get into this review, like really get in there, I'm going to give you guys a little history lesson on the origins of the wØØtstout, if you guys don't know already. As beer drinkers, we tend to have a sort of connoisseur way about us, correct? Well, we oftentimes forget that a lot of us beer drinkers are also geeks. So with that being said, if you guys don't know who Wil Wheaton is, that's shame on you for number one. And two, you're definitely going to get very well acquainted with him after you watch this review. Wil Wheaton is probably one of the biggest names in sci-fi without actually being big. And I say that because Wil Wheaton was in one of the most widely recognized sci-fi shows known to man. That's right, folks. Wil Wheaton played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation with the ever lovely and also very awesome Patrick Stewart. Oh, if that doesn't ring a bell for you and you're not much of a Trekkie, you might remember him from another role that was also pretty iconic. Wil Wheaton was also Gordy LaChance from Stand By Me. That's right, 1986 movie with 4 boys who just can't stay out of trouble. Anyway, Wil Wheaton decided to contact Stone Brewery in an effort to use, I believe it was the gargoyle logo, for whatever purpose he had it for. So Greg Koch picks up the phone and he tells Wil Wheaton, sure, go ahead, use the logo. But then he stops and thinks about it for a second and says, wait a minute, that name sounds awfully familiar. Then you add Drew Curtis from Fark.com, and if you don't know what Fark.com is, I highly suggest you do look at Fark.com because it's actually also very awesome. So you get 3 guys, some of the biggest geeks in the world, decide to make a beer, and they come up with the name wØØtstout. So being that Wil Wheaton was also the inventor of wØØtstock, which you should also check out, and he also happened to be pretty good friends with Drew Curtis, it was kind of a no-brainer, you know? This concoction was bound to happen one way or the other. You don't get 3 guys who love sci-fi, who drink beer, homebrew it, and nothing comes out of that. So, with it being partially bourbon barrel aged, and having chocolate, pecans, vanilla, coffee, it's time to do this. Oh, look how thick that pours. All right, so I know I don't like head, but I gotta put a little bit of head in this. Dude, I tell you, that bourbon barrel aged quality is so legit. You just have no idea. If you've never had a bourbon barrel aged beer before, or maybe you have in the past, seriously, this is probably just the best bourbon barrel aged just quality that I've ever had in a stout before. Besides that, the chocolate's there, the pecans are there, the vanilla's there, it's all there. It's all there. So right off the bat, just right on the nose, the coffee and chocolate form this envelope around your tongue, and it just spreads like wildfire. Then in the middle you have like the nuttiness, you know, from the pecans. Then on the back of the throat, it just finishes super duper warm and super duper with vanilla. It's just, yeah. I know I'm using a taster glass from a beer event, but I should be using a snifter glass, and I'm sorry. I'm a connoisseur, I'm not a snob. The very first wØØtstout 2013 was pretty aggressive. I mean, it was more carbonated as a stout than I was used to, especially Imperial Stout, but it was explosive also in just the chocolate qualities and just the overall, you know, coffee taste, vanilla taste. And I've never had a stout that had pecans in it before. So even though it was really explosive, kind of, you know, I want to say almost a turn off with the ABV and the carbonic bite, the full gamut of flavor that it brought along with it totally blew me away. Then with the Stone wØØtstout 2.0, they actually ended up increasing the ABV to 13.5%. And they also admitted that this was their hardest one to make because of the limitations they had at the time, whatever. However, it was even better than the wØØtstout 1.0. I guess I'm just going to go by the number convention because it's easier. wØØtstout 1.0, wØØtstout 2.0. Now, virtually the recipe is the same. However, with this being at 13.5%, tasted much more robust. I guess almost, you know, kind of evolved in a way. And you think with a name like wØØtstout 2.0, there'd be some kind of evolution, right? So then with the wØØtstout 3.0, they reverted their target ABV back to 13%. And it was somewhat similar to the wØØtstout 2.0 in terms of just robustness, but it was even more subtle and even more refined. Didn't have as much bite, and it also didn't have as much blast of ingredients. It was more like, it was definitely more mature by that stage. And then last year's wØØtstout was pretty much kind of similar to this. I just think that with the wØØtstout 3.0 is where it finally matured. And, you know, at this point, I'm not looking for them to make any more changes. This is the sweet spot, and so far, it seems like they've stuck to that. Now it's time for the artwork. Easily my most favorite part of this entire endeavor. So with the wØØtstout 5.0, they decided to go the alien route, which I think is awesome considering that Alien Covenant just came out not long ago. They've got the awesome face hugger, sort of, pharyngeal jaw alien apparatus going all through each one of their skulls with a amount of hops, or butt of hops at the end of it. Font looks pretty stellar. I think that's actually segments of one of the aliens, maybe, or a few of the aliens. And then on the Stone Wheaton text up above, you've got the alien text with, of course, the eye and farking resembling the eye of the egg from Alien on the teaser poster, which is a nice, good hark back to the awesomeness of that movie. So with the exception of the wØØtstout 2013, each and every wØØtstout has a new sci-fi theme. So the 2013 stout was pretty tame compared to the other ones. The 2014 stout, which actually saw Drew Curtis away from the whole project, in which Aisha Tyler, who's also another big sci-fi geek and also another amazing actor, stepped in to work with the brewers and with Greg Koch, and made the artwork based on, I think it's steampunk, or it's a mixture of steampunk, wizardry, and superheroes. I guess they're all superheroes, actually, is what I think the theme was. Yeah, superheroes. And then with the 2015 stout, I think it was Hunger Games. No, I'm totally wrong, aren't I? But with the 2016 stout, it was Star Wars based. And I really, really, really wish I had the bottle here to show you guys, but you guys can just look it up. I can't give you everything, right? It's a really, really rich beer. that beckons rich food. I've tried it with steak before, and I had to like put the steak away because this was totally overpowering it, and this is actually better. So, well folks, if you like this review and liked how I geeked out a whole lot, and you're patient enough with me, I appreciate that. Go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, and also be sure to share with your friends, your fellow geeks, your fellow beer lovers, your fellow geeky beer lovers, and anyone who just might slightly be remotely interested in the content I create, because you're awesome if you do that. Until next time, peace. Oh, and get them while they're here. They don't last very long, these wØØtstout. That's why I save them. They go off the shelves really fast. Cheers.